Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. So if you're a recruiter trying to build or scale a tech team in New Zealand right now, you already know the landscape is shifting, dramatically. Today, we're diving into the sources to decode the fiercely competitive 2026 tech hiring market, and we're going to focus on the absolute hardest piece of the whole puzzle, which is securing senior talent. Let's see what it actually takes to win in this new environment.
Okay, let's just dive right into it. The sources hit on this incredibly painful question that is probably keeping a lot of hiring managers and recruiters up at night. Why is your dream tech candidate rejecting your offer? I mean, you vetted them, the interviews went brilliantly, you're literally ready to bring them on board to lead your next big project, and then, boom, they decline. Or worse, they just ghost you entirely. So what's actually going wrong here?
Well, the data points to a very, very practical answer. It's because you're moving too slowly. A lot of times we think we lost a candidate because of, salary or some flashy perk. But the reality? Taking a week to send an email or letting internal corporate hesitation stall an offer for even just a few days, you are effectively handing your top pick right over to a competitor. In a lightning-fast market, sluggish administrative processes are literally a recruiter's biggest enemy right now.
Which brings us to Section 1, the 2026 Talent Squeeze. To really understand why speed is absolutely critical, we've got to look at the macro environment we're operating in. Demand is completely outpacing supply, and you can clearly see it in the specific roles driving this intense demand. We're talking about AI and machine learning engineers, cybersecurity specialists, cloud and DevOps software engineers, data experts, and embedded systems engineers. It's wild. Organizations aren't just looking for generalist IT help anymore. They are hunting for deeply specialized experts to build and protect their core infrastructure.
But here is the core problem we're seeing in the data, and really the main focus of our explainer today. While the demand for these roles is just through the roof, experienced candidates remain in incredibly limited supply. And this drought, it is felt most severely at the senior level. Honestly, finding someone who doesn't just know the tech, but actually has the years of senior-level experience to lead teams and architect complex solutions, it's like looking for a needle in a very, very competitive haystack.
All right, Section 2, why you lose top candidates.
So if senior talent is really this rare, we have to examine where recruiters are tripping up when they actually manage to get these elusive folks to the interview stage. The first thing you absolutely must realize, based on the market data, is the sheer frantic nature of the current landscape. These experienced candidates are not just talking to you. Because their skills are in such high demand, many are actively involved in several different hiring processes all at once. Every single time you speak with a senior professional, you should safely assume they're weighing your opportunity against 2 or 3 other highly attractive offers.
And because they have so many options, their tolerance for corporate delays is absolutely zero. So the crucial point here is this. Delayed feedback or slow decision-making directly equates to lost strong candidates. It's that simple. Think about it. If a senior engineer interviews with you on Tuesday and you don't give them feedback until the following Monday, they have already accepted a counteroffer from a competitor who made a decision on Wednesday. Hesitation literally kills the deal.
Moving on to Section 3, what senior tech talent wants.
To actually secure these rare individuals, we have to kind of build an empathy bridge and fundamentally understand their professional desires, right? Because they've evolved significantly over the last few years. We've got to figure out what actually brings them in. So let's start with the obvious one, money. Salary remains important. You absolutely have to pay a highly competitive market rate, for sure. But in New Zealand's fiercely competitive 2026 market, salary only gets you in the room. It's foundational. It's table stakes. But money alone is just no longer enough to win the deal when literally every other company is offering top dollar too.
So what actually tips the scales? Well, technology professionals are looking really deeply at 4 pretty much non-negotiable factors. They want flexible working arrangements, clear career progression, interesting technical challenges, and supportive teams. They want to be genuinely stimulated by their work and thrive in a high-functioning environment. If you, as a recruiter, can clearly showcase these 4 elements during the hiring process, you are drastically increasing your chances of actually securing that senior hire.
This takes us to Section 4, securing the elusive senior hire.
Okay, so we know what these candidates want, and we know we've got to move fast. But how do recruiters actually execute this? Think of this as your ultimate survival playbook. The biggest shift is totally moving away from the outdated, passive methods of the past. The old way of just throwing up a job ad, crossing your fingers, and praying the right senior talent applies, yeah, that's dead. The The new way, the absolutely mandatory way for 2026, requires a highly proactive, specialized reality. It demands targeted searches, leveraging strong industry networks, and running incredibly efficient, frictionless hiring processes.
The source material actually summarizes this perfectly. It notes that successful hiring, therefore, requires more than advertising a vacancy. It sounds super simple, I know, but it requires a total restructuring of how HR and tech leaders approach the market. You simply cannot wait for the talent to come to you anymore. You have to go out to them with a compelling, well-structured proposition.
Recruiters really need to adopt this exact winning formula. You need targeted searches to identify the exact specific skill sets required. You need strong industry networks to backchannel and find those trusted professionals. You absolutely must have clear communication, no leaving candidates in the dark wondering where they stand, right? And as the data has really hammered home today, you have to combine all of this with a highly efficient recruitment process. Now, a huge reason why you need this highly proactive formula is because of where the talent actually lives. The very best senior professionals, they often aren't actively searching for a new role. They're probably currently employed, likely quite comfortable, and definitely not scrolling through job boards on a Tuesday night. To find the senior talent your organization desperately needs, you absolutely must tap into the passive talent market.
And you know, this is exactly where partnering with specialists becomes such a massive game changer. For example, the source outlines the huge advantage of working with tech recruitment specialists. They basically combine international reach with deep, specialized market knowledge of New Zealand. But most importantly, they have the actual capability to connect organizations with those highly skilled professionals who might not be actively searching for a new role. It effectively unlocks that hidden, passive talent pool for your business. It's fascinating how this just entirely bypasses the traditional limitations of a standard job board.
Which brings us to our final thought for today's explainer. You know the market is squeezed, you know what senior candidates want, and you definitely know that traditional job postings just won't cut it anymore. So I want to leave you with this one critical question to take back to your teams. Is your recruitment process fast enough and targeted enough to catch the talent you absolutely cannot afford to lose? Because in 2026, speed and strategy aren't just an advantage anymore, they are literally your only chance at winning. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and hey, good luck out there.